Straight ahead on Oregon's News at 7. Snowfall all the way from the Willamette Valley to the coast. We'll tell you how people are handling the weather. And controversy over the Jordan Cove pipeline setting a petitioning record for Southern Oregonians. We'll tell you what the next step could be. Plus, more than 3,000 active duty U.S. soldiers are heading to the southern border. But are Americans on board? Oregon's News at 7 starts right now.
You're watching Oregon's News at 7 on Oregon's Fox.
Western Oregon gets a good dose of winter with snow tying up traffic and causing school delays and closures. Good evening and thank you for joining us for Oregon's News at 7. I'm Alex Hasenstab. We're not out of the woods yet when it comes to these conditions. Let's head over to meteorologist Travis Knutson to see what's ahead. Travis, we got a dusting today, but what's coming tonight?
Well, it's just a light little bit of snow around the valley floors this morning, accumulations for higher elevations, but now that it's done, the next big thing is some very cold air that is seeping its way into the state. Here's a look at where temperatures are sitting outside right now for the region. 33 degrees in Junction City, Eugene at 35. On the coast, Florence and Newport already at that freezing mark, in North Bend, Bandon, not too far away from it. Looking at the satellite and right overhead, not a whole lot to really point out. The clouds are clearing, and the lack of clouds will contribute to our chilly overnight lows tonight. The storm that brought us the snow is now working its way into Northern California, where its impact on us will become much more minimal. That said, tonight, don't be surprised if you see a snowflake or two. There just will be no accumulations of any sort on the way. Tomorrow in the 40s, and while things are dry for now, we do have potentially another opportunity for some snowflakes coming our way. I'll tell you when, that's still ahead.
Thanks, Travis. And despite that snow, people were still out and about today. Angelina Dixon went around Eugene to see how people were handling the snowfall.
Zephyr, hi Zephyr, you like the snow?
His full name is Zephyr Martell.
It was a winter wonderland Monday in our usually rainy forest land, and instead of getting people to dwell on bad road conditions and inconveniences,
Just get out and enjoy it. The weather here is great. Don't complain.
residents of Eugene are enjoying this snowy weather that didn't last for long. We started up the hill on Blanton Heights at around 1,300 feet and ended on the bottom at Amazon Park at nearly 500 feet above sea level. But no matter where we went, people are doing okay with the snow so far.
Yeah, I kind of like everything about the weather here. It gives me a little bit of, places I've lived before, a little snow. And because I'm from Michigan and have lived in 3 or 4 different cities. But I love the weather here. I like the coastal weather more than anything.
Kraus and his dog, Zephyr, were enjoying the post-snow weather at Amazon Park. No snow there, but in places like Blanton Heights, it's a different story.
Because we live up higher, we get a little more snow.
Blanton Heights was covered in a thick blanket of the white stuff this morning and may be getting ready for more snow. People like Leanna Hoffman are enjoying the snow. She's happy. It's nothing like the bad ice storm a few years back.
Oh, like I said, I live on the top of Chambers. You have to either go Lorraine Highway or Chambers, and they're both bad. So I was stuck in the house for maybe 5 days.
Wherever you go, if it's snow,
know your vehicle, know what its capacity is, know your own personal feelings about driving in snow too. If you're not comfortable going out on the road, don't.
Be safe out there if you have to drive in the snow.
And ODOT says if you have any concerns about a certain area that is not getting de-ice services, visit oregon.gov/ODOT for contact information. And surprisingly, it was a winter wonderland in Coos County. The rarity of the morning snowfall prompted the question of how prepared the coast is for snow. In Coos Bay, city officials say they have an unused snowplow for less than a year now. North Bend has less equipment, but city officials say they aren't worried about that.
Purchasing and storing those kinds of supplies for very infrequent events is not really a good use of public funds. If it was really bad like it was 5 years ago, we'd probably use this road grader just to get most of the snow off.
In a snow event, O'Connor says the focus would be clearing the main roads that lead to local highways. Washington really got the brunt of the snowstorm with temperatures in the low to mid-20s and wind chill in the teens. There's snow from the Canadian border down to about Centralia. Areas outside Everett got a foot of snow. Downtown Seattle got about 5 inches, and Olympia only had to deal with about 2 inches on the ground. It created an icy morning commute, knocked out power to nearly 20,000 people, and closed most major school districts. And SeaTac had canceled more than 170 flights and had to deal with delays up to 3 hours due to 3 inches of snow. The Egan warming centers are open tonight to help keep the homeless safe from the cold weather. 7 locations in Eugene and Springfield are opened, and the group is on standby for tomorrow and Wednesday. New information tonight on a crash on Highway 101 north of North Bend this morning. State police say 2 people were killed in a head-on collision. Oregon State Police say 36-year-old Jesse Paris lost control of his F-150 pickup on slick roads and hit a car, killing 58-year-old Susan Dixon. A 10-year-old girl in Paris's truck was also killed, and Paris and a 7-year-old passenger were seriously injured and hospitalized. OSP says speed may be a factor in the collision. North Bay Elementary School says one of their families was involved in the accident and that a crisis response team is available for students. The comment period for the Jordan Cove pipeline has ended. 35,000 comments were submitted, setting a record for Southern Oregonians petitioning their government. The pipeline would cross 229 miles in Oregon and deliver natural gas to Asia. That land includes private property and 500 waterways. Those opposed have petitioned local, state, and national agencies for more than a decade and are now calling for an end to the proposal once and for all.
And it's time that our state stands up and denies this permit so that we protect our waterways, our climate, and Southern Oregon communities.
The Oregon Department of State Lands will review the petition. From there, they can choose to deny further action. Many of Southern Oregon's local legislators have stated their opposition to the pipeline, but Governor Kate Brown has yet to speak out one way or the other. An injured hiker has been stranded on a gorge trail for more than 24 hours now, and now more than 30 search and rescue crew members are hoping to bring her down, but they haven't been able to locate her or locate her phone signal. Friends of Leslie Drapiza says she's an experienced hiker. She wasn't alone and wasn't prepared for an overnight hike. It's cold and snowing, and deputies don't know exactly where she is. She was last seen near Warren Lake at 3,800 feet. The 1.5 feet of snow they have up there may provide some valuable clues in the search.
There is snow up there, so, there's certainly a potential that they're going to stumble on at least her trail. Some recent activity to let them know where she's gone, and that would definitely be a positive thing.
Deputies say Drapiza hurt her ankle, but because of the limited cell phone access, they haven't been able to find out how hurt she is. It's unclear if searchers will be able to continue past nightfall. The investigation continues into a house fire in Staten. A young boy was reportedly found dead inside. The fire broke out Friday afternoon, flames shooting out the second-story window. Today, people were leaving bears, balloons, and signs in front of the home. Oregon State Police say they're not releasing any more information today, leaving a community asking for answers, including the man who actually owns that home.
Still have a question whether or not it was arson. I haven't received any more information about what had actually happened or anybody who's at fault for anything or they haven't really given me any information, just asked me a lot of questions. That's about it.
Initially, investigators suspected arson. Over the weekend, they walked that statement back, saying a proper investigation takes time and they simply don't have the answers yet. RV maker Winnebago announced they will be cutting 220 jobs at their plant in Junction City. While employees won't be let go immediately, their jobs will be moved to Iowa in the coming months. Stephanie Rothman tells us what's causing the move and what this means for Junction City.
Winnebago has been operating their RV business in Junction City since taking over from Country Coach in 2015. It's been a vital part of the city's economy for years, but that's about to change.
It's 200 plus jobs and they're good paying jobs. So it's going to have an impact there's no doubt.
When more than 1,800 people lost their jobs a few years back with Country Coach, it hit Junction City hard.
The businesses in the community learned from last time and we'll be prepared for it. I think it's a hit, but it's a strong town. I think we're going to be fine.
Winnebago's Director of Corporate Operations, Chad Reese, says it's tough But the 220 jobs are better for the company back at their main base in Iowa.
The company's growing, and what we found is we believe it makes the most sense to transition that production of the diesel pusher products to a Midwest campus.
Jobs won't be cut all at once, but will instead be phased out over time. The manufacturing plant will close down while the service and parts side will stay.
That is going to remain a very vital part of our position in Junction City, so we intend to keep that, strengthen it, and move forward.
Those 30 jobs will remain, but the future of the building itself is still up in the air.
That's a lot of space, a lot of buildings over there, and we want to make sure that the company is looking to the future.
I would hope that people realize that we're doing this, and we're hoping to stay committed to the Junction City area.
Reese says the plant will close down by August 31st. Reporting in Junction City, I'm Stephanie Rothman.
More calls today for Virginia Governor Ralph Northam's resignation over a racist picture that appeared on his medical school yearbook page. Northam said he was in the 1984 medical school yearbook photo of a man in blackface and another in a Ku Klux Klan outfit and apologized. But then he changed his story Saturday, saying he's not in the picture. If Northam steps down, Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax would take over. He's facing his own issue, an allegation that he sexually assaulted a woman at the 2004 Democratic National Convention in Boston. He says those allegations are false. A New York judge will get back to work tomorrow in deliberating the charges against the drug lord known as El Chapo. There have been 200 hours of testimony from 56 witnesses with stories of murder, torture, corruption within the Mexican government, mistresses, and tunnel escapes. Joaquin Guzman faces life in prison if convicted. The Pentagon is sending more than 3,000 active duty U.S. soldiers to the southern border as the president continues to threaten a national emergency to get his border wall. But a new poll shows a majority of Americans are not on board with a national emergency declaration. Nicole Killian has more from the White House.
3,750 U.S. troops are headed to the southern border. They will be installing wire barriers between ports of entry and providing support to Customs and Border Protection. This comes as President Donald Trump continues to make his case for stronger border security.
We're going to have a strong border, and the only way you have a strong border is you need a physical barrier, you need a wall.
In an interview with CBS Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan, the president would not rule out another government shutdown or a national emergency declaration to get wall funding.
Would you shut down the government again?
Well, we're going to have to see what happens on February 15th. And
you're not taking it off the table?
Well, I don't take anything off the table. I don't like to take things off the table. It's that alternative. It's national emergency.
A new CBS News YouGov poll shows that a majority of Americans do not want the president to declare a national emergency in order to build a southern border wall. 66% of Americans are against it. Even Senate Republicans are unsure how a national emergency declaration would turn out.
Do you think there are enough votes in the Senate to approve of Trump's national emergency declaration?
Well, we'll have to see what would happen. That would all probably play out in court some way, but the preferable way is through the appropriation process.
Ahead of his State of the Union address Tuesday night, the president told reporters he would make a decision on declaring a national emergency soon.
Congress and President Donald Trump have a February 15th deadline to avoid another partial government shutdown. If you noticed a coworker or two wasn't in the office today, you're probably not alone. More than 17 million people were expected to stay home on the day after the Super Bowl. The absences usually have something to do with food, alcohol, and staying up too late. One estimate puts the lost productivity at about $4 billion. Coming up on Oregon's News at 7. Today is the 20th anniversary of a major shipwreck on the South Coast. A look back at the new Carissa after the break.